Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us for yet another session of Edu Talks. Today we have Miss Shivani Sahni with us, leading educationist from NCR region. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for joining us today, ma'am.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Aditya, here.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, we all know that such a journey with as illustrious as yours has must have had a lot of milestones, but ultimately it starts from a very small step. So we would love to know about your childhood and how did you grow up and any memories from that.
Yes. So, of course, as others, I would say my journey till here is also like a roller coaster. I had a beautiful childhood, being the eldest in the family. So, I grew up with a lot of responsibilities on my shoulders. And a lot of things that I remember that I could not do, but my siblings could do, is because they were the younger ones. Yes, but then I still remember very fond memories while we were there in Rajasthan, as in my father was posted there. So I remember that whenever some relatives used to come, so we used to go around Silicate, Sariska and all. So beautiful times that we have spent there. And right from the beginning, I would say that I was in a leadership profile kind of a thing, that I used to be the prefect of the class, and I was always looked upon by the teachers. So whenever there were some charts to be made for the classes and all, so it was always Shivani is going to do that. So sometimes I used to feel quite burdened also, as in every time the things come to me. But then I think all of that got me here where I am today, because in the process I kept learning.
Okay.
So that's how my journey was. And then I started with corporate and came to education. So that was again a complete turnaround, complete change of the profession, the industry. It was amazing. I mean, I really love that.
Could you tell us a little more about that? We know that you, as you mentioned, that you started off in the corporate and then came to education area. Little background about that, ma'am. Why? What happened? What were the circumstances?
Yes, really nice question, actually. So while I was growing up, I had never thought of coming into education, to be very honest with you. I always used to think, being a teacher, what is it going to give you? You know, you are having a lot of restrictions, as in you teaching certain particular set of classes. So over the years, you're teaching those classes. Like if you are a primary teacher, so you will be within 2-3 classes. If you are a TGT, then you're going to be that. So what kind of an exposure do the teachers get? How are they going to, being mingling with the other people? So as in what kind of a circle they have other than the school? So that particular set of syllabus is what they are teaching all the time. So that was something that was there always in my mind. And education was never in my list. I would not say, I mean, like, people set up the priorities, as in this is the first, this is the second, this is the third. But education was not in my list at all. Not even that the priority, but not in the list at all. And I was always fascinated towards corporate. And I was lucky enough, blessed enough, that I got chance to join Pfizer Limited. And Pfizer was top 5 multinational companies in the pharmaceuticals. And I had a great learning experience there with all my mentors. Thanks to all of them, that I learned a lot about the selling skills, about objection handling skills, which has helped me in the education as well. So all of that industry experience has definitely counted, because I think no learning goes waste. In 2008, what happened was that I was introduced to landmark education through one of my cousins. And when I was attending that program, that was a training program which was based on Erhard methodology. And that was a 3.5-day program. So that brought the transformation in me. And that is where I thought that everybody works for building a career. The purpose of my life is to do something else. It's to create something better. And what if I'm able to touch, move, and inspire people? What if I am able to even touch one teacher? So how many teachers, I mean, like, how many students is she going to be touching in her entire lifetime? that is going to make the difference to humanity, that is going to make a difference to the society. And that was a turning point to me, and that is what got me to education. So 2008 I came to education.
Wow, that's very inspirational, ma'am. And like, who was your inspiration? Because you come across as a very inspirational person who left behind a very great corporate career to give back to society. So you would must have had some role models. Could be, I know people have, could be living, fictional, any role model which sort of inspired you in your journey throughout.
So I would say I have been picking up certain things from certain people. I've been a learner throughout, is what I would say. I'm still learning. So it's not that one particular person I can name, but there have been different people who have been contributing to my life, starting from my family members, my mom, my husband. So my mom has taught me patience, as in how I was very aggressive person, and I've learned patience from her. My husband, he's taught me communication, as in not really communication. I was pretty good at communicating, but the importance of communication, as in case there is a discord between two people, so you do not stop communicating. Even if the other person is not communicating, that's okay. You continue communicating with that person, because communication is the key. Communication gets all the resolutions, and that is what I learned from him. So those kinds of things, so these are the two people in my life who've been inspiring me. Then if you talk about even kids do teach you a lot of things. When I talk about, so I would like to mention here my daughter. My daughter was just 4 years when she taught me something. I learned something from her. And what had happened was, one fine day we were there in Ames. Unfortunately, my husband was quite sick at that point in time, and he was hospitalized. He was in coma. So we bought some patties, and the patties are generally filled with potatoes, right? But that patty was filled with cabbage. And I was like quite surprised, as in cabbage in the patty. And since my husband was suffering from neurocystic psychosis, and neurocystic psychosis, the major cause is cabbage. Though we were not having cabbage, but then it's said that that's the major cause. So I told my kids that, okay, let's throw this cabbage out and have the outer thing. But then something struck my mind and said that if it was already filled in, it might still have that. If it was contaminated, it would. So I said, okay, let's. I told them, let's throw it first. But then I told them, okay, let's give it to some beggar outside. Somebody would be sitting, so maybe the hungry people, they're gonna. And then my daughters asked me, Mama, if this is not good for us, do you think we should be giving it to somebody else to eat?
Wow.
And that is where I was like, yes. And that is the day. Since then till now, what I'm not going to eat, what I'm not going to give to my kids, I'm not going to give it to anybody else. So this is what, so I would say that there is no one particular person who's a role model to me. I think anybody and everybody becomes your teacher or an educator at any particular point in time. Like for recent times, if I talk about, I don't know if you've, I'm sure a lot of people know about her, Valerie Conder's Field. So she had been associated with UCLA as a gymnastic coach for a very long time. So she is one person who I am fascinated with, because she had a great career and she's taken retirement now for a specific purpose. But what she has mentioned was that, the success is success equivalent to winning. So that is something that was her, this thing. After so many years, when she had got 7 national awards, and she has actually created a landmark, is when she has reflected upon and introspected upon, and is asking people in her TED Talks, if you would see, how she is mentioning that we need to ponder upon these things, that success is not the same as winning. So this is something that we as educators, we as parents must really think about, must really reflect upon, because we are, we become very proud when we gain, a lot of achievements, a lot of awards and all. But is it really what? Most of the times, it is seen that it is leaving us damaged. So a lot of people who've been winning are leaving the education institutes, in some or the other mental health problem and things like that. So we need to look upon that. So such kind of things. So that's why I'm saying that it's not just one person who I would say that I am fascinated with, or who is my role model. I think they keep changing, and I keep having them.
Lovely, ma'am. That's a very powerful thought of being able to pick up lessons, even if that means picking it up from a 4-year-old. That's very, very powerful. And ma'am, so in this journey, as you said, that you started off from corporate and moved to academics, and you mentioned about a personal, um, like, it must have been a very challenging period when your husband was hospitalized and everything. So, like, any cherished memories, if you could share, like, which you're very, very proud of, like, over the years.
Lot of cherished memories, lot of moments. The moments when I saw my children, my students performing on the stage, and I had goosebumps, I had tears out of, oh, what, I mean, like, because I am always, I always have one thing in my mind, that the platform is to be extended to everybody. So no favoritism, no biasism. So I make sure that each and every child gets the platform for anything and everything. So when I see those children who are being, because it's an unfortunate thing that knowingly or unknowingly, uh, teachers and even parents label children. And when you see a child who's been labeled is performing, not necessarily that the child has to perform in sports or academics, it could be any field. And the pleasure that it gives you, that is something. So there are so many such kind of cherished memories where I've been seeing them performing and I've had goosebumps. And many a times my children have made me proud. I've been blessed with a son and a daughter, and both of them have given me so many cherished memories. My teachers have given me so many fond memories that I can recall of, when beyond my expectations they have done extraordinary work. So many, I mean, like, yeah,
So
wealth of memories.
one thing I'll definitely point out, ma'am, that people, when I pose this question to many people, but typically people always mention their personal achievements, their milestones, which are cherished memories. But you have spoken about your teachers, parents, students. So that was really refreshing. I would definitely like to call that out, that it's very refreshing to hear that people call out other people's achievements and take joy in that, and that, I guess, in your case, is making you much more happier. And that's
Absolutely. See, that's the reason I call myself a people's person. So when I was doing my landmark thing, so when I was doing the advanced course of landmark, because it was so intriguing, it was so much fun, so much engagement, that I would recommend it to anybody and everybody. In fact, when my children became of that age, when they were eligible to do landmark, I immediately made them join that course. And so what I got at the age of 32, they got at the age of 12. So that's the power of that program, and the kind of distinctions that that program gives is like being unstoppable, being unreasonable. It's very easy. If you get late, the first thing that you'd hear is, "Oh, I'm sorry, actually the tire got flat." Yes. "Oh, I'm sorry, but actually there was a lot of traffic." Yes, of course, all of these things are going to be there. And that is where we have to be unreasonable. We keep giving those reasons. It's very easy and quick to give the reasons, but it takes a lot of courage to be unreasonable. So those are the distinctions that I got from that. And I still keep practicing. So 2008 and till 2021, I'm practicing all of that. Gratitude is yet another, resilience, gratitude. It is not that I did not feel, I did not get some failures, or I was not pulled down. I was. You would understand that there are a lot of politics also, the office politics and all of that. So there were times when I had faced all of those hiccups. I mean, of course, as you mentioned, the tough time. Yes, my husband was hospitalized for 13 months, one long year, and he was in coma. So that and work together, and my kids were of the age of 4.5 and 7.5 at that point in time. So much was there, but yes, I had that power because I had created that kind of structure around myself, that my people, they were not completely dependent on me. They could take their own decisions. So my leadership skills, the what I had learned through my education, through my Pfizer career, is what I could put. So all of those things helped me a lot. They were like a support system to me. Instead of me spoon feeding them, I think giving too much is also not good.
Right.
So that is where, so I give them freedom to explore, experiment, and they feel so happy about it. And then they feel more responsible about it. Because if they're given that kind of a freedom, it is their responsibility then. Yes, if something goes wrong, I'm there to stand with them. I will never, show my back to them. But then, yes, do it. Once you do it wrong, you will know the right way to do it.
So empowering your team and ensuring they know that you have their back, that sort of unleashes their brilliance and ultimately ensures that the team wins.
Absolutely.
Is what I understood.
Absolutely. It's like together each achieve more. One person can never achieve the goals. It's always a team.
Okay. Ma'am, it's always easy to look back and sort of connect the dots. If when we are going through it, it's not really easy to understand that what's contributing and how it's contributing. But if you're looking in retrospect, it's always easy to connect the dots. So ma'am, like you talked about like the kind of person you're coming across is like being a very determined person who is very confident, resilient in nature. So what are the contributing factors? If like any connecting the dots, could be experiences in your childhood or the way you were brought up or anything, how did this version of you finally come to be?
Yes, I think it started from my childhood. No, I would not say I think, rather it started from my childhood, because my parents gave me all the independence. They gave me all the freedom to choose. So when it was to choose the subjects, I was given all the freedom to choose my subjects. So I was never pressurized to do this or to do that. When I chose to be at a certain place, I was given that freedom to be at that certain place. So when I opted for my college, I was given that freedom to choose my college. So all of these things, so all of these things where I got the freedom to choose and the trust from my parents, because that is also very important. And I think a lot of quite a few teachers in my schooling time, they played a vital role. I still remember a few of my teachers who I am really grateful for. If I'm asked about my college teachers, I hardly would recall anybody's name. But for my school teachers, yes, definitely, I recall names. Mrs. Ghosh, who made me that confident, because I used to be a person who used to be working at, behind the scenes. So like if there was some science fair, so I would create a model and somebody else would present it. So I would never go out and speak. So if there was an oral test there in the class, I would say, ma'am, can I please write the answer and you correct it? So she would say, no, if everybody else is giving an oral test, so you are also supposed to give an oral test. So she gave me ways and techniques. How can I build up that confidence in myself? So I distinctly remember her. Then my biology teacher and my mathematics teacher, Mrs. Kamleshwari Chawla, my biology teacher, and Mrs. Eva Matthews, my mathematics teacher, who I used to see that they never used to get tired. Any period which is free, any teacher who's not come, who's absent, these two would be ready to take the substitution period always. They were never tired. And I was like, oh my God. So that is what is something that I need to have in myself. And that is what I need to create that in my. So that comes only because of the passion you have. If you're not passionate, then you will not do that. So I came to the education industry because of the passion. Now the passion was not there initially, but that got ignited. So somewhere giving back to the society was there within. It was just that the landmark ignited that in me, and I thought that this is the best platform because here I can touch multiple lives at one time. If I do something else, probably I might not be able to touch so many people at a particular time. So even if I spend 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, I'm going to be touching so many lives in that 10 years. So let me be a part of this. So that's how I came. So that is what I would say. So all of these, this is if I join the dots. So if I go back to my school, if I go back to my parents, my siblings, so I think this is all that has contributed me to be resilient, because my parents always encouraged me. My teachers always encouraged me. So I remember I went to a zonal competition once and I just could not present. But then I was not nagged for it. I was not told that, what have you done? You've spoiled the name of the school or something like that. That's okay. And I was, so all of these things, I think when you're not pulled down by your teachers, your school management, I think that gives you again the courage to stand back, to step up. So I think this is very important for all of us to understand, specifically the faculty, the teachers, that we need to bring up resilient children. Looking at the times we are going through, very tough times, hard and harsh times, I think resilience has to be built up.
Ma'am, any colleague who has helped you, like who has influenced your teaching style or leadership style, like when you joined the education sector?
Yes, I would say my leadership style, Anna, he's fondly called Anna. His name is Mr. M.B. Kumar. Very learned person. He has been associated as Director Education, Director Academics with a lot of schools like Presidium, Shivnadar, and many more, Heritage and all. So I fondly remember him, and he has contributed a lot in my life. I have seen him, how he had been guiding. He had trusted me immensely in my potential, and he gave me a lot of exposure into a lot of events. While I was handling the primary wing as an academic head, at that point in time, he gave me, the strings of Model United Nations, which is generally senior secondary or secondary schools. Children participate in that. But he gave me that opportunity. He gave me the opportunity of being an ISA coordinator and bringing in the award of ISA from British Council to not just one branch of Presidium, but two branches of Presidium. So there was a time, like 3 months, I was working for two branches of Presidium at the same time for that ISA award. So these are just two that I have mentioned. There are many more opportunities that he created, and he gave me that kind of a platform. So I have learned a lot from him. Then another person who I would quote here is for the leadership style is Mrs. Amita Bhatia. She had been the branch head with Presidium Ashok Vihar, and looking at her, she was very humble, very, very humble person. So I've learned to be humble from her. So that's the reason when you ask me, a role model. So I cannot tell you one role model at all, because, if you would ask me at every step, I would have somebody or the other from whom I have learned something or the other. So yes, and that's not the end of the list actually. So when I was involved with the curriculum developers, so I fondly remember Vishnu Kant, Agnes Joseph, and Akanksha Arora. Then my counterpart, Mr. Prem Oja, who I am working with still, in the new organization I am. So we have two different schools, one in Sonipat and one in Delhi. So I am in the Delhi school with HRM Global School, and he is the head with Gateway International School at Sonipat. So yes, the list is endless.
One common thing that I keep hearing is trust, freedom, and ownership.
Absolutely.
Like these three things together. Like you told that about your parents, also about your style with your teachers, and also about how you were lucky to receive that from your colleague and mentor, if I might say, like which helped shape your leadership style. So, how important is this? Like as a parent to give that to their children for the development of skills?
I think it's extremely important, and it can start at very young age. For example, you can just give the opportunity to the child to choose the clothes that the child want to wear that day.
Okay.
Yeah? Even if the child picks up a blue with the green, it's okay. The child would understand, start understanding. The child would look around. Children are born curious. We're talking about 21st century skills, curiosity, imagination, creativity, critical thinking.
Right.
A child is born curious. It is we, the teachers and the parents, who curb the creativity of the child by giving directions, by telling, don't do this, do it like this. There are researchers to prove that when a child is born, till a particular age of about 6, 7, 8 years, they are very curious, and the kind of productivity you would see is much more in terms of creativity. As they grow, their creativity reduces because it is caged by us, because we are not giving them ample opportunities and freedom for them to be creative. And that is why a lot of focus on these skills is being laid on, called as 21st century skills. So parents can start it that young. These days we say, don't play in mud. Arey farsh pe mat chalo. So I think you look at some of the cartoons like Peppa Pig. There is a muddle pad, and it shows there. I hardly see any children dancing in rain these days. Why not? We learned it like that. The other day I was there at home and it was raining really heavily. And I asked my son and my daughter, so that was the fun of working from home thing. So I was like, come, let's go and let's stroll around. Let's walk around the society and, be there in the rain. And like my son is saying, Mama, I said, yes, let's do that. And believe me, we went. And then two of our society members saw us and we greeted them, exchanged the greetings. And then on the Teej day we met, and uncle was telling me कि आपको देख के ना मैं इतना excited हो गया कि मैं अपनी granddaughters को दोनों को लेके गया जब अगले दिन बारिश आई, and they had fun. I said अब next time ना आप उनके साथ boat race करना, पेपर की बोट जो बनाते थे वो उनको बोट बना के देना, क्योंकि these children have not seen all of that. So it's so much fun, and that is what builds connection also. These small things will spend 10 minutes only. You don't have to spend the entire day in rain or something doing like that. 10 minutes and see the connect, that the bond that between the parent and the child, that it gets built.
It's like in a guided atmosphere with you being with your kid. That's one thing. But giving freedom, and they'll make mistakes then.
It's okay. So if they make mistakes, you are there to support them. No, it's not that you are not there. So of course we are not going to give them the blade. Okay, take this sharp blade and do whatever. So I'm not saying the freedom in that context, but freedom of choosing small things, as I just mentioned. Okay, freedom to choose what to eat, how to eat. Right? If the child doesn't want to eat it by, spoon, that's okay. Why can't a child eat it with the hand one day? That's okay. Did we not grow that ways? ठीक है, yes, we have to teach etiquettes also. Of course, I don't say don't do that. But there are certain times where you need to be flexible, and be flexible. Why not?
No, but won't they become like entitled or indisciplined? How do we balance this?
So what is discipline? Let me ask you this question. In your mind, what is discipline?
So discipline, like I would say, there are certain expectations which
Right. So those are parents' expectations.
Right.
Why do we want to do that? I read somewhere, so for me, the moment I read that, I mean, it just was like deeply ingrained in my mind. Children are our responsibility, but children don't belong to us. Right? Because they have their own life. They did not ask you to get them to this world. Did they ask you? No, they did not. It was our pleasure. It was our need. We wanted to be the parents. Hence, we got them to this world. Why should they live our expectations? Why should they not live their own expectations, their own life, the way they want to live? They might be making some mistakes. It's okay. We are there because we are responsible for them. But they are not responsible for us. If they take our responsibility in the later ages, that's a bonus for us. But should we keep that expectation? I think no. And that's the cause of a lot of worries that in the Indian families happen. So I think, maybe I might be sounding very different to so many people, and I don't know what to say, but yeah, that's how I feel.
And then does it hold good for both families which are affluent or I would say still in the middle class? Like, do the rules apply to both cases?
Yes, I think Aditya, to both, but it again depends. The values are given in the families. So what they see is what they do. I read a quote today. One of my school friends had shared that a child, your son would, in some stage of life, follow your actions and not your advice. Right? So what you do is what is going to be followed. What you advise is not going to be followed. So when we say stop using the phone, every time you are there on the phone, what are we doing? Have we ever observed ourselves? While watching TV, we are on phone. While eating food, we are on phone. We receive a mail, we are responding. We receive a WhatsApp, we are responding. So have we compartmentalized ourselves? What time are we going to be spending on phone? What time are we going to be spending with children? What time am I going to be spending this way and that way? No, we have not. So all of this is what is being observed by the child, and he does the same thing. So these values and other things, like if you're touching your parents' feet, the child is seeing that. You would not have to tell that. I'll just give you an example from my life. When I lost my husband in 2011 after his sickness, of course, I was disturbed, but I was more disturbed with this fact that my kids are too young, and how are they going to learn the values that my husband had, right? Because they'll observe me and would take whatever good is there in me and whatever bad is there in me also, because I'm not perfect. But whatever good was there in my husband, how are they going to get that? So this used to be there in my mind, because he was one of the gems I have ever known. And so what I did was I kept him alive in their lives by telling both my kids that if your father would have been there, he would have done this. So I used to tell my son that पापा अगर किसी बड़े से मिलते सुबह तो उनको पैरी पहना करते, यानी कि पैर छूते, और अगर उनसे फिर बाई चांस दोपहर को भी मिल रहे हैं या दिन में 3 बार मिल रहे हैं तो वो तीनों बार ही पैर छुएंगे. ये नहीं कि सुबह छू लिए तो काम खत्म हो गया, राइट? सिर्फ मैंने बताया. My son did not observe it, right? Believe me, when he even calls to my parents or anybody elder, whether in my as in my maternal side, my paternal side, or in my in-laws side, whenever he calls somebody or he receives a call, he would say Peri Penna first, Peri Penna ji. So he did not even observe. He just heard that me telling him. So family is the first place which cultivates values. School comes later. So whatever the context be, affluent families, middle class families, or lower class families, it holds true for everybody. So give freedom, give values. You don't have to worry about anything then.
Ma'am, you touched upon 21st century skills. So many in our audience might not understand what 21st century skills mean. So could you just break it down for, like, make it in simple words what you meant?
So to me, I think 21st century skills is the name that is given to a certain set of skills which were already existing earlier also. It is just that it has become the need of the hour now because we have gone to a global pretext. So when we talk about the 21st century skills, it is mainly critical thinking, creativity, communication. So when we talk about communication, the communication had been there earlier also. It's a very powerful tool, right? Now, communication doesn't really mean about you telling somebody something, but it is also that the listener understanding what you are telling, right? Because it's all about perception. So communication doesn't end where you've just communicated, but it ends where you have cross-checked from the listener what he has understood or she has understood, so that you are sure that what you're trying to tell is being understood. So that's what is communication. Critical thinking could be also critical thinking and problem solving is like bringing in multiple to one particular scenario, bringing in multiple solutions. So how critically you can analyze things and bring up these solutions to it. Technology, yes, because and of course COVID has brought us with the technology 10 years earlier. Now what we would have been using technology 10 years from now, it's like there. And so there are no global boundaries now. Now, like we have been attending a lot of webinars which have been conducted across the globe now. So you need to be aware of all of that. Then adaptability is how we say. So it's like not just only 21st century skill, but a life skill as well, because you need to be adaptable. So I would say that these skills are very important for you to be actually standing out. And also, what is the need of teaching these skills? Because earlier, we were having, from where I operate is, we were having joint family culture systems, right? So of course we were living with cousins and everybody, so they're caring, sharing. मार दिया किसी ने तो उसको कैसे डील करना है, एंड कैसे एक एक टॉय होता था और उसके साथ में करना है मैनेज. सो ऑल ऑफ दोस थिंग्स, अभी किसी ने टीवी चला लिया और किसी को पढ़ना है तो उसी में मैनेज भी करना है. सो हाउ दे वर डूइंग दैट, ऑल ऑफ दैट. बट नाउ दैट्स नॉट देयर. Now we are in nuclear families. So if there are 3 members, each member is there in one room. So mummy, papa, child, everybody in their room. Everybody has their own TV set. Everybody has their own gadget, right? So where is it that the child is learning all of these skills? So hence the need has come to teach these skills, because when you move out, so there, without collaboration, you cannot work. You have to work in collaboration. So you need to learn that collaboration. The collaboration that you were learning in a joint family culture, that is not happening now. So hence, a lot of collaboration has to be taught in the school, in the college. So that is why I think 21st century skills have become so very important. I mean, this is one of the reasons that one needs to teach them in the schools to all the children.
Any particular skill that you feel that this is non-negotiable? Other things you can still develop over time, but these skills, like any particular which is non-negotiable, needs to be mastered very fast and very early in life.
No, I think all of them are very important. at every stage. Because if I talk about decision making skill, so even decision making skill, very simple thing, even a pre-primary child has to take a decision of what to do, what not to do at certain points in time, whether to put my finger in the electric socket or not, so it's important. When the child, so I think they're all, if you look at it very in a pragmatic way, so they're all very important and kind of somewhere overlapping. You need to be curious. You necessarily might not be curious and creative at the same time. You may be creative but not curious. So unless you are curious, how would you come up with different solutions? Because you would not try to do that. So I think that's also important. We need to bring up different developments, we need to develop fast. A lot of things need to be developed. So I think all of these skills are very, very important.
We all are seeing technology and virtual, digital becoming a very omnipresent kind of a solution right now. So how does it play out with the development of these skills? Do they move together, or do they conflict, or how can technology, does this help in the development of these skills, or does it, like you mentioned about gadgets, like three people being in the same house but glued onto their gadgets? So how's this balance, how do you go about it as a parent or a...
So what, we are human beings and we have our mind to decide, right? So it's completely dependent on us, whether are we going to become the slaves to the technology, or are we going to use technology in a very productive way for achieving our higher goals. So I think technology doesn't have a mind of its own. It's the mind that is there with the human being, and we should be dictating our terms to the technology and making its optimum use rather than becoming a slave to it, is what I would say.
Okay. Ma'am, any two things which parents should never do, which sort of cause these 21st century skills, they don't help in the development if you do these two things, like red flags. These are definitely no, don't do this.
Yes, what I think is that parents should never nag the children, and specifically in front of somebody, because it lowers the self-esteem of a child. And if the child's self-esteem is hampered, then it's gone. So one of my friends was telling me, one of my ex-colleagues, in fact, was telling me one of the days that she was asked by her teacher to carry some notebooks, and she dropped the notebooks. And the teacher gave her a remark, "What butterfingers you have." And that was the day that she lost it. And she could, for years and years, she could not gather the confidence, because she started feeling that whatever I do would not be worth, वो खराब ही होगा, गलत ही होगा, ठीक नहीं होगा. So she could not attempt at anything. And similar things is what at times parents also do. तू तो कुछ करता ही नहीं, you don't do anything. You just be there on the phone all the time. Instead of saying be there on the phone all the time, can we change our statement? Okay, let's know what is the child doing, and let's direct the child towards a productive thing. Okay, how about this? Have you gone through this? Or maybe give some example and ask the child to research over it, and let the child bring up something. If you've something, so there are a lot of things that are available which the child would definitely come do research more than you would know about it. And that's how productive interactions can happen. And so that is important. And of course, as I mentioned earlier also, when I was talking about freedom, so give them the opportunities to make errors. So don't just, as I told you that giving too much is bad. So don't give everything. So stop giving everything. Give them time. Uh,
Right.
Let them take their own decisions. So that they will be aware by the time they grow what is right and what is wrong for them.
So that they develop their own like decision making skills.
Absolutely. It's very important. Very, very important. Tomorrow, why do you want to be feeding them all the time? Let them do all the research. I have seen a lot of children who do all the research and they come up and they tell you, Mama, this is the college, and Ma'am, this is the college. This is the benefit of this, and this is the drawback of this. This is the benefit of this is the drawback of this. This is where I'm stuck. I need your support. Let the child come up and they will do a beautiful task. You don't have to do everything for them. They are capable of doing. Teachers also start giving instructions, parents do certain things, teachers also do that. Teachers will explain something, then will explain it further, and they would think that probably the child has not understood. Some teachers, though, I have seen, what would they do is they're telling something, they're giving some set of instruction in English, then they're explaining that set of instruction in Hindi also, as if the children would not understand. You're not giving them enough challenges. Giving them a challenge, give them a challenging environment. They definitely will learn. Give them a simpler synonym to that particular thing, maybe. That's the most that you should do. Don't serve everything, don't spoon feed everything, is what I would say. Because unless you see, there is never a growth when you are in a comfort zone. Never. Give me one example where somebody has grown in a comfort zone. I can't think of any. Even I have grown when I was challenged. If you would look at my record, I have been associated with all startups, and I'm enjoying being with startups because it gives you so much pleasure, so much accomplishment, feeling of accomplishment that yes, this is what it is. You can really hear in my voice right now. So I think that is what is very important. So don't give too much.
Okay. Ma'am, any activity, program, or event which you have seen any other school do, which you feel, wow, this is wonderful, we should do this, this will help develop our children?
Lately, there is a concept of Model United Nations that has come up for last few years, and I think that is a wonderful platform because it helps in enhancing so many skills, and it's like many schools are doing it now, colleges are also doing it, and it has been I have seen a few students, like while I was working with Presidium. There were 3 children, and one right now is a part of Alma College, Michigan. So he had received 90% scholarship from that college. Can you imagine? 90% is a huge scholarship. Yes, he just have to pay only the travel expenses majorly, right? And we definitely can see him being in UN. And he was given all the books, every study material from the mentors, from the professors of that college, right when he was studying here at Presidium. Because the child showed that kind of an enthusiasm. And he was involved in a couple of projects also with the professor's daughter there. So that is what is available, So the children learn the research skills. So they do a lot of research. They understand which sites. Because what happens, quite a few people are not aware of this thing, that Wikipedia is not a source which is an authentic source, because that can be tailored by anybody. So if I am not aware of something and I make some changes over there, then it is not authentic, right? But there are certain websites, certain links which are very, very authentic for any information. So when you are an ME winner, then you get to know about these things also. So you're doing a lot of research. Your communication skills are developing. You are getting to know about a lot of global issues. So you are getting sensitized towards that. And once you are getting sensitized towards that, you gather that kind of, I'm losing that word, responsibility, that you feel that you are also responsible and you need to be a contribution into it. So you would pick up something. So maybe somebody picks up poverty or something else. So at least there is some connection that starts getting built between the child and between the issues, between the global issues, be it water, life underwater, anything. I mean, it includes also the 17 SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals as well. So that is happening. So communication is happening. Then how you have to uh, write your position paper. So when you're writing that position paper, again, you being creative, right? Uh, when somebody is cross questioning you on your position papers or what you are presenting, then the others are becoming curious, and they are becoming curious knowing on what points you have gathered. So all the 21st century skills that we were talking about, they are encompassed in just one event. You know? So I think such kind of programs need to be done very frequently, and this is something.
Any initiative which you started in your school, any of the schools, which other schools emulated, they congratulated you on that.
I recall the MUNs generally is being done. So none of the schools has emulated because it was there within the school only. So we took up small, as in not those global issues, but the issues related to the students for the primary kids. So we did MUNs for the primary children, for grade 4 and 5 students.
Okay.
And that is what I did for 2 years. And very simple issues like related to the classroom disturbances.
Okay.
So such kind of things, and the children used to participate. So that was something which was very enthralling to see, that how children are performing, they are developing, they are writing the papers and they're presenting it to the teachers. So that was fun. So from there, when they've started doing that, of course, I'm sure that they would do it much nicely when they grow old. So that was one. Then we did certain club activities. Now, those club activities were again enhancing these kinds of skills. So they were very different in nature, as in when we were doing little hands at work and other skills. So we made children think and decide of it. So it was not that the teachers were deciding the activities, children were coming up with that, and they were telling us, okay, this is what we need to do. And next time they would come up with how would they do it. So that kind of a complete event management, so that kind of thing. So that we have done with children of primary graders, so that we are making them responsible enough and capable enough to think and decide for themselves. And there is nothing that we call impossible. So we used to scaffold them. So I believe in scaffolding only. I don't believe in helping, but I believe in supporting and scaffolding. So that's the difference that I've been creating with the teachers and the students.
Lovely, ma'am. Ma'am, I know you have we have taken a lot of your time today on a busy day.
My pleasure.
Ma'am, just final, we know you have shared a lot of action items, I would say, with examples, illustrations, but just final 3 things. If as a parent I need to remember, just 3 bullet points. And if as a teacher I need to remember, just 3 bullet points, ma'am.
Okay. So as a parent, I think the most important thing is, please do not make your child a mini adult. Don't expect your child to be a mini adult. Second, sit with your children and discuss about their talents, innate talents, what their interests are. Look for their interests and aptitudes. Don't just put them into a compartment that, okay, study this because this is going to give you a better future. You're going to be earning more. Discuss it with them, because their interest is very important. If they're passionate in something, they are definitely going to create their name and mark in that area. But if they're not, it's not going to be sensible at all. And third thing, as I mentioned to you earlier for the parents, please do not nag your child at all, and specifically in front of anybody. Don't lower the self-esteem of your child. But at the same time, do not just keep boasting about your child also, because that is again also bad. So for teachers, I would say give them enough challenging tasks. Do a lot of collaborative activities, because collaboration helps in developing a lot of skills in the children. Third, knowledge is easily available. Do not try to give knowledge to the children. Knowledge is available at the click of a finger. Google is there to give all the knowledge. It is all about the attitude and skills. So build in that kind of an attitude in them. So role modeling for both teachers as well as parents is very important. So we need to build in the attitude and skills in the children. Knowledge will automatically come. That's what I believe in, and I try to give it to all the students in my school.
Sure, ma'am. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for taking time out for the session. And we look forward to having you with us for future sessions as well. Thanks a lot, ma'am. And one personal thing that I have personally taken away as a note for myself: find joy in the achievements of others. That is very empowering. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Adityaji, once again. And I hope that people, parents, teachers, students pick up something at least from this and benefit out of it.
Thank you, ma'am.